Here it is, finally. You thought you'd never see it, but here we are. It's the battle of the HSS Strats that look a bit like a beach. We're looking at the Jet JS450 versus the Fazley Sunrise Series Shore. They're both in the same price range, around the £300 mark. Now, they're obviously very similar in looks, but there are way more differences than you would expect. If you are considering either of these, then let's have a closer look, check out the specs, hear some tones, and see which beach guitar could be the right fit for you. Here's the tones for both of them, head to head in each pickup position, clean and dirty. Let's hear it. Fazley has the coil splitting in the humbucker, so we've got another two tonal options on positions 1 and 2. So let's get a quick wee listen to them. Right, first the obvious similarities. We've got two Super Strat style guitars with the same comfort cuts and body contours, kinda. We'll get to that later. Locking tuners, roasted maple necks, HSS pickup configuration, flame maple tops, and of course with the same beach looking finish. Right, the locking tuners. The units themselves on both guitars are solid and they operate smoothly, no complaints there. But they're not identical. The Jet has the smaller button-sized machine heads and the Fazley has the larger sized keys, which I prefer. The string trees on both are the very cheap butterfly style ones, not the best. If you get the chance, upgrade them to Graphtex. The Jet just has the one string tree on the first and second strings and the Fazley has two string trees on the first and fourth strings. Ideally I'd like one triple tree or just on the first and second strings like the Jet, but with staggered locking tuners. That would be ideal. Next, nuts. The Jet has a bone nut, and the Fazley comes stock with a Graphtec Tusk XL nut. And Graphtec is the far superior material in every way, in my opinion. The necks are both satin finished modern C-shapes, which is my favourite profile. It's exactly the same as on a Fender Player series or even the old USA Standard series. Strats. The fretwork on both guitars is excellent, no sharp fret ends or dead spots, no complaints. They're great. And you can't even always say that for Fenders these days. Fretboard radius. This is a big one for me. 12-inch radius on the Fazley, 9.5-inch radius on the Jet. On F-style guitars, the 9.5-inch radius wins for me every single time. It's just more comfortable. Truss rod access. On the Fazley, it's at the best location, the spoke wheel design at the heel. For the Jet, it's up the top of the headstock. I'd love to see Jet introduce the spoke wheel on this series to try and keep up with the Fazley here. As previously mentioned, both HSS pickup configuration. I think I marginally prefer the pickups on the Fazley, but there's not a lot on it. Personally, I'd probably change the pickups on both to something a bit more vintage spec'd. That's just what I like. I love that Fazley has the coil split on the humbucker, but I don't like the black bobbins that went with here. I much prefer the chrome cover on the Jet, looks way better. The black bobbin kinda ruins the look a little bit. The pick guards are identical, white perloid. Usually I don't like white perloid pick guards, but I think on these guitars it suits it really well. It's the only choice really. The trem systems are almost the same. They're both Wilkinson M-Series 2-point trems with the push-in trem arms. The Fazley is the WOV05 with the bent saddles, and the Jet has the WOV06 with the block saddles. I've always preferred block saddles, and I don't even know why. More comfortable in the hand, more robust, I'm not sure. Jack socket access. On the Jet it's on the side, and on the Fazley it's on the front here. Usually on a traditional style Strat, I prefer it on the front, like this. On these Super Strat type guitars with the nice flame maple tops, I prefer the jack socket on the side. I don't like it on the front here, stinking up the look of the guitar. And I mentioned in a previous video, if you're going to put it here, Fazley missed a trick. Look, you could have had a wee boat here, on the water, heading back to the beach. That would have been nice. Take note for next time, Fazley. Now for the finishes. Although they look very, very similar, I prefer the slightly lighter and more understated fade on the Jet, as opposed to the Fazley, which just has a wee bit too much contrast or saturation going on. It's just a bit darker and you can't see the flame as clearly. But when it comes to the back of the guitars, I prefer the Fazley's lighter stain so you can see more of the grain. And I can tell the Fazley's 3 pieces, but with the Jet, the grain's too dark and I can't tell how many pieces it is. Is the amount of pieces even important? Let me know in the comments. Also, while we're back here, I'll point out that the Jet has the white perloid backplate which matches the pickguard. I like it when things match. 'Cause weird things. And the Fazley just has a plain white 1-ply backplate, which doesn't match the pickguard. Now, there has been a little bit of speculation as to the origin of these two guitars, as Jet and Fazley, particularly the Fazley Finnica guitars, have a bit of a history, shall we say. I've made a couple of videos about that before. There's a two-parter and I'll put a link to it up here. But basically the short version is the two brands were putting out guitars at the same time from the same factory with the same specs, just with different branding. But I can tell you now that these two guitars are not made in the same factory. How do I know that? Well, one reason is that I asked my contact at Bax Music and they told me. Basically all the Sunset and Sunrise series guitars along with the Sheriffs and Outlaws, they're all made in the same factory now, which is not the same as the Jet factory. Another reason is in the differences of the fit and finish of the two guitars. Even the body shape is different. I suspect that the Fazley is made to a very similar spec sheet as the Jet JS450 or the old Fazley Finnica FSST 820, but I don't think it's finished quite as well. If they're using the same body template or plans, it looks like the Jet has slightly pointier horns, whereas the Fazley one's a little bit thicker. I'm guessing there's been a little bit more time spent shaping the contours on the Jet. And another little giveaway is on the back with the neck screws. The 4-screw pattern isn't quite the same spacing, and you can see here that the ferrules or the inserts on the Jet are completely flush with the body, where with the Fazley ones you can see that they've been inserted a little bit further. And I know we're really nitpicking here. Thanks to my pal JK for noticing that. So at least on these two examples, my theory is there's been a little bit more time and care and attention to detail spent on the Jet. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. There was this one time. But anyway, so which one would I pick? Well, it's a difficult one. Hopefully you can see from everything mentioned here so far that they are quite a bit more different than meets the eye. I think on paper, the Fazley is the superior guitar in terms of specs, features and parts. The coil split, the truss rod access, the Graphtec Tusk XL nut and the larger tuning keys, they're all winners for me. But the 9.5 inch radius on the Jet trumps all of the above for me. The only thing I don't like about this particular Jet is the weight. I've had it a while now, maybe like 9 months, 10 months or more, and I've kept it stock as I know that I might not keep it forever. I got it mainly for gigging, but it's a wee bit too heavy for that, so it might have to go. Coming up soon on the channel, these two guitars are going to be entering into a second battle, a 4-man Royal Rumble against a Harley Benton Fusion and an eArt Corsair NK-C3 in some kind of epic, budget-ish, super strat shootout thing. I think these are the 4 best super strat guitars you can get for the money. We'll find out who's best, so keep an eye out for that. That sounds like the kind of thing that might even be worth subscribing for, eh? So what say you? Would you rock a guitar that looks like a beach? Or would you beach a guitar that looks like a rock? Should guitars even look like landscapes? Or seascapes? Let me know in the comments. But you can also let me know if you've had any experience with any Jet or Fazley guitars. I always like to see your experiences. Let me know. Okay, so that was the great battle of the beaches. Who won? I don't even know. But they're both incredible guitars for the price. You can't go wrong with either one. It just depends on your preferences. Which one do you like the best? If you're still here and you like the video, consider hitting the like button to prove it. It's important to be consistent. Are you still here? You're not still here, are you? Nah. Talking to myself. Sorry. Okay, so thanks for watching. Until next time. See you later!